I am a 43 years old Belgian citizen. I live in Australia. I've been doing IVF treatments for more than 3 years now. Unfortunately, not successful at this stage. I had 6 attempts and 1 miscarriage exactly a year ago. I have decided, and it's a personal choice, to go on another path, which is surrogacy. I'm going to start it in 2 weeks from now. I'm going to India. And so this is about my personal description. How did I come involved in the field? So more than 3 years ago, when I started looking for information about infertility, I've got a background in sales and marketing, and I was, Googling like everyone else. And I noticed that it was a bit of a chaos. The quality, the quantity, and so on. And I thought, there's something wrong there. So I decided to analyze this. And I did a research, and I analyzed 90 websites worldwide. I had the chance to meet with Zev in Israel and talk to him about it, and he invited me last year. So I presented the results of that study, which I think is still available online in the presentation of IVF Worldwide. And since then, I must say, I haven't been successful with my physical IVF, but I have been blessed with my digital IVF, because I've been working in the field for more than 2 years now. And I hope I will communicate this, but it's a real passion. And one proof is, yesterday was my birthday. My husband invited me to go to Port Douglas in Queensland. I don't know if some of you have been there. A little bit more appealing than Berlin to celebrate your birthday, but I wanted to honor Zev's invitation, and I'm here. So I hope I'll be able to share my enthusiasm about the subject and also to share some expertise. So, quickly, the first thing is the general context. So what we are seeing now is the rise of what we call the e-patient. So this is a cartoon from a French newspaper, and this is a sarcastic vision, of course. Sorry to contradict you, doctor, but on asthmatic.net they say no more than 3 times a day. I'm sure a lot of you have experienced this kind of patient. They come with all printout and so on, and they know better than you, and it's probably quite irritating for you. But luckily, this is not the majority. So what we have seen now is what I call the end of paternalistic medicine. So in the last 10 years, there is a drastic change, as you probably all have experienced, in the nature of the patient-doctor relationship. And this is mostly due to the use of the internet as an alternative source of information. But guess what? This is not bad for you. This is positive, because what is happening is that we are shifting now to what I call participatory medicine. What do I mean by that is your patient probably comes with lots of ideas and so on, but I mean, the sarcastic image I gave, this is probably the minority, but probably it's not too bad to have a patient who is better informed, who has read and so on, because it will save you some time. So if they have got the correct information, you can quickly go to critical issues, and this is probably quite beneficial for you. Okay. So another thing about the e-patient, and that you have to keep in mind and quite important, is that healthcare is not a consumer market like anything else, unfortunately or fortunately for some of you. So that means that patients are expecting to be treated like valued customers. So what they want is services which are characterized by quality, safety, convenience, in IVF certainly responsiveness, and most important, respect. So here I'm going to come with a few statistics which will illustrate what I'm saying and which are quite interesting. So this was a study done by PricewaterhouseCoopers about consumer attitude, And it's interesting to see that you see the left part, healthcare, only 8% of respondents rank price as the primary driver to select a healthcare provider. This is good news for you. But on the other hand, 72% of consumers ranked the provider's reputation and the personal experience as a top driver for choosing a healthcare provider. Here I'll come with my personal experience. So when I first started my infertility treatment, my OBG sent me to a fertility specialist in Brussels. I did my treatment in Brussels as a personal choice. And the doctor I saw, so lucky me also, my dad is a doctor, he's a specialized internal medicine. We prepared a list of questions because among other things, I've got diabetes type 1 for the last 7 years. So I had all kinds of questions. And one question was related to my diabetes. I wanted to know the effect of those ovulation stimulation on my diabetes. The answer of that doctor that I saw, this specialist, oh, diabetes, that's your problem. Guess what? Do you think I went back to that doctor? I switched, I changed. So again, really, whoops. This is really an important thing, the fact that you really want someone who respects you. So the conclusion of that study, which I really recommend you to read, is that patients behave more like consumers. Healthcare providers need to deliver a high level of personalized service and satisfaction, otherwise they're going to lose to competition. Some other stats which are quite interesting about what are the reasons the patients, or I would say internet user, go for health topic. So most reason are to get more familiarized with the subject, to get information about drugs, medicine, and what are they going to do, to get inputs from other patients who have got the same condition. That's among the top 4. And on top 5 is to get emotional support. So keep that in mind. So the e-patient is a savvy digital consumer. According to a 2009 Deloitte survey on health consumer, 60% of patients looked online for treatment options, 57% would use quality rankings to compare doctors and hospitals, so quite important, and 37% are interested in using online tools to help them assess, monitor, and manage their health. So where do patients look for information and why? So this is a 2013 research by the Pew Internet and American Life Project Health. So 70% of online health seekers say they began their search at Google, Bing, or Yahoo, so typical search engine. 13% began at a site specialized in health information, just like WebMD. 2% started at a site like Wikipedia, and 1% on social network like Facebook. So I'm not saying you don't have to go on social media, but just keep that in mind. This is not going to be the primary source of information for your potential patients. So different source of information for different reasons. Again, this is good news for you. For personal issues about how to cope with their health issue, about how to get quick relief, and also to get more psychological tips, they're going to go to non-professional source. But whenever it is more technical, so really in your field, like the medical practice and so on, they're going to go to the professional first. So this is also good news because it means that the internet will never replace, the doctor. Your experience is just the golden standard. So now to the really the key topics is what are IVF patients looking for online? So your patient mindset is not going to be like this, that's for sure. They're not going to be happy, smiling people. They're not looking for something to purchase like something valuable, but it's going to be like that. So they are depressed, they are down, they've tried everything, and basically they are looking for a solution for their dearest dream is just to build a family. So based on my experience doing several projects with some IVF clinics and also with a pharmaceutical company involved in the field, I came with a conclusion that the IVF patient mindset can be divided in 6 phases. So I'm going to go through them one by one. So the first phase is before visiting a specialist and starting investigation. What is the mindset? They are searching for information about tests, diagnosis, and treatment. They want to be familiarized with medical jargon, and that's really a key issue here. I mean, you know, for you it's your day-to-day, but when you start hearing about ICSI, IMSI, PESA, TESA, whatever, you're like, oh my God, what's happening to me? What is this? This sounds like totally unfamiliar. So if you can find this information explained very simply in a website, that really is helpful, I tell you. They also want to gather a list of questions that they will be able to ask prior to going to the specialist, so they're better prepared. And then finally, they want to check on the specialist expertise. So basically, the message that you have to convey in your online communication is be tangible, give clear and simple information, limit the use of complicated medical terms, so really make it simple. That's the golden rule for all this. And then also present a list of the most common questions that you have faced in your practice, because that will solve their problem quite easily. Second phase is during testing and investigation. So there they are seeking for reassurance that the specialist is doing the right thing. They want to understand the testing, the procedure, so what is the timing, what are the potential discomforts that it could occur. And they also, and that's quite important, they want to be prepared for the results, because that's a critical moment. So again, the message is give concise information about what could be the potential test outcomes, use supportive and positive wording, and explain the reasoning behind all the tests that you're going to perform. So after the diagnosis, so that's also quite a critical moment. So now they know what is the outcome of the test, so they want to better understand what is their particular situation. They also want to look for advices about how to cope telling others, family, friends, or colleagues. And they are looking for online supports because they want to tackle their feeling of isolation. So the message here is be supportive. Use phrases like, we will do our best to help you achieve your dream. You have to show empathy. We understand your stress and desperation, and we'll do the best to overcome those negative feelings. And give really practical tips on how to deal with the entourage. When selecting a treatment, they want more information about the proposed treatment, the success rates of those treatments, and the side effects. They want to be also informed about the possible alternative and complementary therapies, such as acupuncture, meditation, and so on. So be transparent when you give success rates, make it clear, because often when you look at those pages in different websites, and it's interesting to see it from one country to another, it's totally confusing for a patient. So make it clear and understandable. Give concrete information about the treatment, about the side effects, the schedule, how long is it going to take, the impact on the lifestyle, because taking your hormones, I mean, people react differently, but it's not easy and it's quite a burden, so explain that. And also, I mean, most of you do it, but there are still some websites where they don't want to deal about that. Be open-minded in mentioning about complementary therapies. I know there is no evidence-based medicine on that aspect, but if you've got a stressed patient, I think doing acupuncture wouldn't do much harm. So if it helps her, why not? So just explain what it is and how it could work. Just before starting the treatment, they are looking for information such as how to administrate the drugs, what could be the side effects, what to take to the hospital. I mean, this is very practical. What will happen at the hospital, and what it will feel during and after the medical procedure. So here it would be interesting to have videos about how to administer the drugs, if it's injection, for instance, description about potential side effects, the symptoms, the psychological impact, like, I mean, I presume a lot of you have questions about what impact it has on their sex life, things like that, so be practical. And then also advice about physical activities and lifestyle, what to do and what not to do. After the treatment, that's really the toughest step, I would say. So they're looking for information on how to go through the stress of the 2 weeks waiting period. They want to prepare for the pregnancy test result. And they want also to know about alternative options in case the test wasn't positive, so about egg donation, surrogacy, adoption. So, I mean, I keep on insisting on those words, but they are very important practical tips about dealing with stress and uncertainty, and that's very easy to tell them, listen, don't focus, don't be obsessed about that, live your life, do things that you enjoy with your partner. It's very, sounds common sense, but to see it on the website is quite useful because they will relate to it, that's for sure. If the test is positive, you should also, I mean, maybe it's no longer your field, you've been successful, they are expecting a baby, but I hear it often from patients that they feel totally left over from the fertility specialist. When it's finished, it's like, bye, and I send you back to your OBG. And some of them are a bit traumatized about that because they developed a link with you, and when it's positive, they're so happy, they want to keep in touch. So why don't you give them some simple information about the monitoring procedure once the pregnancy is successful? Because then they feel that there's still a little link to them. If the test is negative, well, then you should have explanation about alternative option, as I said, about egg donation, surrogacy, and adoption. And then also, how can you get psychological support? So really try to take their stress away. That's the key message. So 9 essential rules, which I think are quite interesting, is first of all, remember it's not only about technology, but it's above all about people. So make sure you address their emotions. And I think that's quite critical in designing your communication strategy. Think like them. So put yourself in the shoes of your patient. I know it's probably not easy. Most of you probably had children naturally. But think about what it would have been if it was not the case. So put yourself really in that position. Make your communication simple, tangible, and this is really my big, as you must have understood now, is like make it emotional. Look for opportunities to provide support to your audience, and simply be genuine. And if you're genuine, you will naturally be perceived as a truly dedicated caretaker. And here I'll come back to this example I gave last year. Because I live in Australia, so I studied, among others, Australian website, and I had one website which I really liked, a practice in Sydney, and I had like an image of them looking at their website. So I live in Canberra, so I decided I'm going to go to Sydney, and I made an appointment with their marketing manager. As soon as I entered that center, the perception I had from their website totally matched with the atmosphere in the center. Relaxed, zen. You felt like, oh, I'm going to be well looked after. So I think it was Yeshua who said that you are unique. All of you, you've got a practice which has got, I would say, a competitive selling advantage. You're not all the same. Put that ahead in your communication, because that's what will make the difference to your patient. So one basic rule, your major concern, I mean, probably it is to increase your patient base and so on, but after all, it is to help your patient achieve her desire of having a baby. So that's really, during all your communication definition, keep that always in mind. So no hard selling. So what I mean by that is, I'm personally, and I've tested with some patients, okay, call to action is very nice, but don't try to capture the patient's email in every single page, because believe me, you're going to lose your potential patient. Because it's a hard topic, it's quite engaging in terms of feelings. So if every page you want to capture the email, they're going to think there's something wrong about that center. No cold approach. So I gave those images, and I didn't want to put them back, but I don't know. Last year I showed some websites, some images about websites. I think it was in Texas, where you saw cows in paddocks. That's not going to sell infertility. I mean, I don't care about seeing cows in a field. Or there was another website, I think it was in Australia, where you thought it was a landscape architect website. So don't forget, what is your topic? It's infertility. So be clear and be simple in the way you communicate about it. No complex information. I'll come back to that with my case study. So make the navigation path quite easy and intuitive to your potential patients. So example of best practices. This is not, I'm not going to talk about design here. It's more about the messages and the content. So here, simple message like supportive message, we are here to help, supporting you every step of the way. Again, we are here to help, and here they say, so we will come with solution that will help you move forward your dream of becoming a parent. No two journeys are ever the same, so you feel that they're going to look at you in a really personalized way. So again, here it says, our mission is to obtain the best possibility fertility outcome for every patient we serve by providing exceptional reproductive health care in a comfortable, welcoming, inclusive environment. Also, don't forget about who your audience is. You've got same-sex patients, address them. You've got single parents, again, address their needs. Give tips. So here, I mean, you can, if you're interested, I can give you this presentation, but you'll find tips about how to manage the 2 weeks waiting period, about the impact on your sex life, about the masculine aspect of infertility and so on. So very practical and concrete and useful tips. Here, a section about especially for the male, and that's something I said that last year when I presented. Out of the 90 websites, I think 2 or 3 were targeting male. I mean, they're part of the process as far as I know, so don't forget to address them. So, case study now. So, as I said, since I was invited last year by Zef, I've been busy in the field, so I've been quite a full-time job on. So I was asked by MSD Belgium to design and do the content of their website for their fertility product range. So it's, at this stage it's in French and in Dutch because Belgium was a pilot. It was launched for ESHRE in July 2013, and it has already been awarded MSD Europe Best Practice for Patient Communication. So if you have the chance, go, even though if it's in French, but you see there are 2 ways in the navigation. So on the top part, and by the way, this is mobile responsiveness. So on the top part, you've got keywords that patients are looking for. So this is targeting the patients who exactly know what they are looking for. And otherwise, you've got those 4 colors. So the idea, and that's what I meant about no complex information, what I was thinking here is, okay, I'm going to take my patient by the hand and navigate her. So there are 4 profiles. The orange one is for patients who are just curious. They can't remember how the reproductive system works. So this is explaining about male reproductive system, female, and it's quite interesting, hopefully. The second one is like we are trying to conceive, but we haven't been successful so far. So they are thinking, okay, what should we do? Should we go to a specialist? When is the trigger to say, okay, we need to consult? So it gives them advice. The third one, the blue, is they are already, they went to a specialist, but they want to get more information. And the purple one is they are ART patients. And there you get really practical advice on how to deal with it. So some interesting statistics, and they're quite fresh, as you can see, from 1st of October to 29th of October. Out of 2,542 pages viewed, the top pages that were consulted are the ones talking about emotional aspect. Second is the different therapies, and third, explanation about fertility. So now about the time they spend on the different page. Again, it's pretty good. The results are quite promiseful. Emotional aspect, 3 minutes 40. Tips for men, 1 minute 59. Pregnancy risk, 2 minutes 54. Lifestyle habits, 3 minutes 24. Success rate, 2 minutes 57. Infertility cause, age, 5 minutes. So here, just a proof that men are less complex than women. Female reproductive system, 14 seconds, male, 7 seconds. So here is the proof. So my second, I mean, this is really labs for me. You know, you are using evidence-based medicine. Those two projects that I did, this is my evidence-based medicine, because I always talked with doctors and I said emotion, emotion, emotion. And here I have the proof A plus B that what my prediction were right. So this is an ongoing project which I'm doing with several doctors, and some of them are here tonight. So this was launched in September 2013. So the objective of this survey is to compare patients' online expectation. At this stage, we selected 4 countries: Spain, Belgium, Canada, and Australia. And the purpose, we're getting there, is to submit abstract for ESHRE 2014. So it's a survey that typically doctors give in the waiting room. So it's 24 questions. 5 minutes, it's filled. It's very quick. You can ask, I've got 2 doctors. I've got Elisabetta from FIV Madrid, who has nearly finished it, and Professor Tan in Canada. And you can, if you want more information about how easy it is to deal with your patient and so on, feel free to ask them. So one of the questions, have you been looking for information about fertility online? So as you can see, 2/3 they did. Another very interesting question, how much time did you spend looking for information about infertility problems? So as you can see, more than an hour, 52%. So they are really looking for information, and they are willing to spend as much time as possible to find answers. Here, a key question: would you be interested in finding the following information online? So again, what is the key driver? Emotional aspects, 27. Psychological advice, 18. Complementary treatments, 9. Future of children born via ART, 9. Legal aspect, 7. Financial aspect, 6. So,
Alexandra?
Yes,
here.
Okay, I'll cut short. So if some of you want to participate, just feel free to contact me and I'll be very happy to get you on board. So conclusion. Do you know who this guy is? No one? So this is the founder and CEO of Palm Pilot. His name is Jeff Hawkins. But I'm sure you will know who this guy is, right? So what is my point here? I mean, there's certainly a big difference between the personality of those two personalities. Steve Jobs is really someone who understood what user experience meant, and he really played, all his devices were developed in an emotional sense because he wanted the end user to have pleasure using an iPod, an iPhone, whatever. And he succeeded. So my advice is be a Steve Jobs in your field. And it's not that complicated. So the golden tips to be a Steve Jobs. So that website that will clearly make a difference are, they present the information in a very human way and give the feeling that every patient will be treated individually. They give a feeling of trust and confidence. They respect any visitor's values and beliefs. That's quite important, especially in countries where you are dealing with different religions, different ethnic origins, and so on. And then create an emotional feeling that will make the experience pleasurable. So that's it. So if you have any questions, feel free. This is my Australian contact detail, and this is my Belgian contact detail. Thanks a lot.